Architectural Builders Supply is pleased to present you with this recording of the technical question that is listed in the title of this video.
This call may be monitored and recorded for quality assurance.
And I was just looking for somebody that can answer a technical question.
I can try to help. What push handle do you have?
So it is the TH1100 push LH push DU LH.
So it's a TH1100.
Yeah.
Okay, and what's after that?
Push DU LH.
Push. Oh, okay. Yeah. That's a Adams Wright knockoff push paddle. Yeah, I mean, I'm reasonably familiar with those.
So I've got everything in the door, but I was getting to put the last part of the mechanism where the bracket, the push, like where you see the thing where it says push. So not the silver part of that push handle, but the bracket that mounts on. As I was getting to do that, parts of the mechanism internally, these springs popped out, and I have no idea where these springs go.
Yeah. So,
and I'm looking for a schematic. I'm looking for, if I could see how that it's supposed to be constructed, but there's none.
So, so what happens is that you've got something back to that's called a driver plate.
Yep.
And that driver plate's got a couple of springs. Now, at the top and bottom, it should be notched out, and those springs sit in that area that is kind of prepped for it.
Okay. So you just sit in those little rectangular spots?
Yeah, that's where they're meant to sit. Hang on one second. Hang on. Okay, don't go in. I'm going to go grab one. Hang on.
Yeah, thank you.
Architectural Builders Supply hopes you have enjoyed this program. If you are enjoying this video, please click thumbs up or like, and also please consider subscribing to our channel. Let's move on to the rest of the video. So I lost the client in that phone conversation. I went to go fetch one off the shelf, and I came back and he was gone. So let's take a look at it. So the client does indeed have this global door TH1100. When I mean it's a knockoff of the Adams Wright, it is. It's a copy of it. And what we're going to do is figure out what happened to his springs and where they go. Sometimes getting curious with hardware doesn't come without its pitfalls and its potential bear traps along the steps that you may take along the way. So let's take one apart and let's look at it. There's not a lot to this, and by the time we go through this, you'll have earned your expert merit badge on this. So let's take it apart. Let's see what's inside of this. If you've not hit subscribe yet, we would very much appreciate if you did, and hopefully you're enjoying this video. Now, let's get back to it. Okay, from what I understood, the client just got real curious on the inside of this. There's just not too terribly much happening here. And I've been inside of here. So basically, the back side of this, you're going to have the cam plug, and the cam plug is what's going to allow this to be a push for a pole, etc. Okay, depending on what you do on the inside here, it affects what's being done on the back side of this. So this is all items that you can research, that you can study, you can figure out how it works. In order to reverse this, which you can, you've got to pull that little... We're getting a lot of light feedback here. That clip's got to come off. That clip's got to come off. You don't want to lose that. And you can reverse how this works, because with this pull handle you can do a push, you can do a pull, you can do a left, you can do a right. It's completely reversible. So the fact that we have it listed in left and right, I mean, it's nice to be able to order it the hand that you want. The factory may not ship it in the hand you want. They may just ship the hand that they have. Okay. Okay, so the first thing we're going to do is we're going to remove these two screws, because that's what has to come out in order to get down there. There's a piece of thin sheet metal here and here that's going to hold the apparatus. So I'm going to keep my finger on that, because I know parts are going to move, and that's what happened to the client, most certainly. And I don't know why he got in here, but the only reason would be to change handing, to change function and handing, because the slider that's in here has to be flipped over depending on what you're doing. Oh yeah, there's a nut on the back. Yeah, that already wants to move. Yep. So there you go. There's a spring there. And what happens is, as you drive this unit, the hub on the back is going to rotate. I should say the spindle. When the paddle is installed, it has these fingers here. Well, they sit inside of the slider that's here. They sit inside of the slider. And as you push or pull the paddle, it forces the slider to move. Well, that's going to compress this, which is what's going to drive this plug, and then ultimately the cam plug on the back. So your springs are going to go here, and frankly, if I removed it from the other side, which I will since we're this far already, almost. You don't want to get in there too tough with something to pry that out, because I'm poking where the springs are. So at this point, you can see where the springs are. Here and here, and that's where they have to go. Okay, so put them back. In terms of how this operates, that's just to dive into the installation instructions, so that you can learn exactly how to arrange this depending on the function, the push or pull, and the handing of the unit. And what I want to do is demonstrate the slider actually moving, so allow me to do that. I've got a tool here that will be able to manipulate the spindle on the back. Going to hold it down. Wheel. Let's see. Okay, as I turn the... Oh, snap. Yeah, I see it. Luckily, I see them. That's what happened to the client. It popped out. Boy, that's real life right there. Luckily, I heard it fall. So we're really doing what this client needs to do now. Now we're into it. Okay. So, yeah, the spring popped out on me. Luckily, I found it. Otherwise, it would have been a problem. There's two springs. There's a helper spring in here. They're nested together. Yeah. It literally went right over my head. Okay. All right, back in place. Okay, let's see if we can do this a little differently. What I want to do is hold all of that down with a couple of fingers so as to cover it. Let's tuck that finger back. Yeah, it still popped out, but I didn't lose it. So when you rotate this, what it does is it obviously forces the entire slider to move. Let's just remove both springs so I can actually show you the movement of the slider. And that's nothing other than removing the slider. Okay. Cam plug. Spring is there. Take the springs out. Slider goes back in. And because there are springs on both sides, it's going to move evenly. But it does end up there. And you can see how it compresses. It doesn't move like that scissor action that it's actually moving in. But because those springs are on either side, it's going to look like that. Okay. So let's put the springs back in. We'll zip this back together. We'll do one side at a time. And we'll cover it. Put that tab back in there because I don't, you know, that's the whole problem with this stuff. I don't have extra springs, and I don't, well, you can order extra springs. Most certainly the original springs from Adams Rite will work, because this is just a copy of the 4590. Is that the part number? Should go anywhere. It did. I let the cam plug loose and it knocked the springs. The benefit of this video is that you can see that it's not easy, even for someone who has done it in the past. Okay. Spring. Try putting the other one in. Okay. Oh, that didn't seat real well. Okay. Okay. What I'm going to do is I'm going to complete one side, hold that down so I can't lose the spring, and then we'll do the other side. I'd like the camera to focus better. Yeah, that's good. No. Oh. It came out. thumb is what's allowing me to keep that slider down. I allowed it to tip forward and the spring scooched underneath it, so to speak. So I'm still going to control it, but this time I'm going to bring the other spring in. Yep. Okay. Now we're going to bring the cover plate, the last bolt. It's held on at the bottom now. We've got really no fear of losing anything. Okay, both of our fasteners are tight. Now we can demonstrate it actually working. You can see how those springs are what's really important. Let's switch back to the primary camera. This one's just not focusing really well for us. If you've made it this far into this video, you must be determined to see it through to the end, and we appreciate your hanging in there with us and watching this entire video. It means a lot. It takes a lot of work to create these videos in the sense that, you know, it's time taken away from doing other things. However, the advantage for me personally of creating these videos is the fact that it does allow myself to either learn about something new, to reacquaint myself with something, or to reinforce what I believe that I already know. Any comments that you might leave down below would be greatly appreciated. Thank you. Okay, so at long last it's put back together. No harm, no foul. That's where the springs go. And basically when you push when we get the handle in, it's going to force the slider to move. Even though we don't, it's in a pull orientation now, and when I pull it, I rotate that spindle, and it comes back because of those two springs that are in there. And that's how this works. Okay. You take that slider and you flip it over, you're then going to have a push application. So the bottom line is it's highly likely that you're going to need to take this apart. So hopefully this video does show the placement of the parts, albeit lacking brevity. It does get to the point. Thank you. Again, thank you for watching, and if you've enjoyed this video, please click thumbs up, please subscribe, and maybe even send the video to someone that you know. Thank you.